Hey guys, welcome back. So today I want to talk to you about a new sight mount option that's available for the AK series of rifles. It's made by Midwest Industries and it's called the AK Mini Dot mount, and that's what you see right here. Now the Mini Dot mount will fit on any standard AK-74 or 47. Any AK basically has a standard AK rear sight. It replaces that rear sight. Now it's also available for many of the most popular small red dot sights such as the AEM5 Micro, or the Burst Fastfire, the Leupold Delta Point, or even the Trijicon RMR. Now, the mount that I have here is meant for the AEM5 Micro, but you'll notice I actually have a primary arms micro dot attached. That's because the primary arms has the same mounting holes as the T1 Micro. This same mount will also work with the Vortec Spark. Now, this is a version 2. There are 2 versions of this mount available, and it's new on the market, but they've already released a version 2. The version 1 doesn't have a set screw up front. As you can see in this picture, that's about the only difference I can see between the two. I do have both mounts with me. Now, the version 2 allows you to snug the base a little bit more snugly to the rifle, where the version 1, some folks were complaining that it wasn't fitting right on their rifles. Now, both versions actually work fine on my SGLs, but some folks were having a problem, so they quickly released a version 2. If you do have a version 1, contact Midwest Industries, and they will get you a version 2 mount. Now, this mount also has built into it a rear sight. So this rear sight is actually machined into the base and is adjustable for windage. There's a small set screw that you can loosen and slide it left and right, tighten it back down to lock it in. You can adjust for elevation through the normal means of adjustment to the front sight. Now, it sets low enough that you can actually co-witness. Now, with this primary arms, it's a very, very low 1/3 co-witness. You can just barely see the sights. But with the Trijicon RMR, the Leupold Delta Point, or the Burst Fastfire, it actually has a little bit better co-witnessing than the primary arm sight does, or even the T1 Micro. But you can see your sights through it. Now you'll notice it sets nice and low, and it does not interfere with field stripping of the rifle. It's a nice option because you don't have to put a full rail system on the rifle if you just want a red dot sight, and it doesn't require the use of the accessory rail on the left-hand side that's only available on some AKs, not all. Now, this isn't the first sight mount of its type. LaRue actually produced one very similar called the Iron Dot mount. This mount is similar in concept but very different in design, so much so that there's a patent pending on this particular mount. I would say that the Midwest Industries version, this mount, is more robust and a little bit more solid than the LaRue mount, which again is no longer available. It only takes about 5 minutes or so to install this sight base to the rifle, and all the tools necessary for the install are included with the package that you purchase. You can buy it for $79.95, and you can buy it from Midwest Industries on their website. I'll put a hot link in the description below. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at how this mount, or this base, is actually mounted to the rifle, how simple it really is, and then let's get it out to the range and do a little bit of shooting with it. Okay, so installing the Midwest Industries AK Mini Dot mount is very simple. The first thing that you'll need to do is remove your rear sight base. I do that by taking a towel, laying it underneath the rear sight base. I bunch it up just a little bit so that it holds the sight at a slight angle, like that. And then I just fold the cloth over. And I take a wooden dowel that I've kind of narrowed a little bit. You can see it's a little bit beat up, so it slides between the wings that actually hold the rear sight in place. Then I just take a hammer and I give it a good whack, and that'll drive it right out into my hand. You can get your rear sight off without scratching the rifle. Now, I've already mounted this primary arm sight to the base. There's multiple different types of bases available, but this one fits the AEM5 Micro, the primary arms mini dot or micro dot, and it also fits the Vortec Spark. Now, there are a couple of areas of adjustment that I want to point out. First of all, you'll notice the set screw sticking out here slightly. And then you have 2 screw holes here, and then another set screw here on the top. Now, after you get your rear sight out, you'll want to remove the spring as well, which just slides out. And it looks like that. You won't need that spring for this version 2 mount. Let me get my rifle back here. All right. Now, you'll notice that there's a T-head It's very similar to the standard rear sight. That just slides into the holes here and sets like so. Now, this set screw that I pointed out here in the middle of the base, you'll want to go ahead and make sure that it's loosened or screwed up so that the sight sets as low as possible. But you want to make sure that it's horizontal, it's perfectly horizontal. So look at the entire base and make sure that it sets flat. But back it off for now so that it's not sticking out. Next, the kit comes with this dowel pin, and there's a hole right here in the rear sight base just below that T-head that you can just push that pin straight through. And make sure it sets in there evenly and it's relatively flush on each side. Now the kit comes with 2 Allen head wrenches. We'll take the smaller of the 2 and just snug this bolt here in the front. Now that draws the sight up tight against these little wings here, pulls it upwards, and makes it nice and tight so it has no up and down movement. Now again, I'm going to take a look at my base and make sure that it's flush. If it's setting low, I can bring it up some by turning this set screw. See how it raises and lowers it? Okay. But for this rifle, it seems to be pretty much perfect without having any need for actually turning that screw down. So I'm going to back it off so it's not engaging at all. Now you have these little bolts that also come in the kit. I should also mention that the kit comes with blue Loctite, which I'm not using, but I highly recommend you do Loctite these bolts in place. This, side wings, and also this if you wind up using it, okay? So all the bolts you should Loctite. Now there are 2 holes, as I pointed out earlier. You pick the one that offers the most bite. There's a taper here that your rear sight uses to adjust for elevation. All right, there's a little slider. It rides up this ramp. These screws are going to pinch or bite that ramp and keep the sight base from moving left to right. You'll select the one that offers the most bite against that ramp. For me, in this rifle, that will be the screw furthest going this way, furthest towards the T-head. Now, I'm using the Allen head wrench that is the larger of the 2. Again, I'm using that first screw hole. And I'm just going to snug that up. I'm not going to tighten it right now. Just get it a little snug, and then take the second one and put it in the same screw hole directly opposite of the one that you just selected on the other side. All right, and I'm going to snug that one as well. I'm going to double check everything, make sure it's all flush. I don't require any more adjustments. And now I'm going to tighten down this front screw fairly snug. I want to make sure it's pretty tight. I want to hold it, which I didn't just do, so it doesn't slide out. All right, I'm going to snug that up to where it's fairly tight. And now I'm going to tighten these 2 nuts on the wings here. Again, don't over tighten, but make them fairly snug. This will keep the sight base from moving left to right. All right, that's it. The rear sight, or the mini dot sight, is installed. Okay guys, we're out at the range. We're going to do some shooting with the Midwest Industries AK mini dot mount. And again, I have this mounted to an Arsenal SGL 31. Got it sighted in. I'm going to go ahead and put a magazine in it, charge the rifle, and fire off a few rounds and just make sure that the scope holds 0 while on the mini mount. Alright, that was 10 rounds fired from about 50 yards. Let's run down range and check out that first group. All right, so here's the first group fired from 50 yards offhand. I was aiming at the 0 here, center of mass. And as you can see, the group is pretty much centered and to be expected. So let's head back and fire a few more magazines through the gun, and we're going to see how the sight maintains 0 with fairly moderate use. Okay guys, down here at 50 yards after it just fired a 5 magazine string through the Arsenal SGL-31 using the Midwest Industries AK mini dot mount. It looks to me like the rifle is in fact holding 0 after an extended string of rapid fire. A couple of rounds are stragglers I attribute to me yanking on the trigger, trying to fire a little bit too fast, but the majority of the rounds actually went right here where they belong. So it would appear that firing a rapid fire string of several different magazines doesn't rattle that mount, and it does in fact hold 0. Okay guys, some final thoughts on the Midwest Industries mini dot mount. Now, take a look at it here the way I have it configured. It actually has the Burris Fast Fire 2 sight on it. So now you've had an opportunity to see it both with the primary arms micro dot and also now with the Burris Fast Fire 2. I think in all, it's a very handsome sight. Now I should say that Midwest Industries will be the first to tell you that this sight base is not intended to go to war with. And by that they mean if you're breaching doors, rolling around the ground with bad guys, banging the thing on rocks, this probably isn't your best option. You'll want their full rail system for that. This sight base, while robust and fairly rugged, I've not been easy on it. I banged it around quite a bit, dropped it on the ground, and it held 0 just fine. You're going to want something more rugged if you're really going to be hard on the rifle, taking hardcore rifle courses or whatnot. However, if you shoot primarily on the range, home defense, even for survivalism, this is a nice option. It's $79.95, so it's priced very competitively. And with the primary arms micro dot on here, you're looking at $89 for the sight, $79 for the base, under $200 for a great red dot sight setup on the AK that you can install yourself in just a few minutes. Now the Burris Fast Fire 2 is $200, so you're looking at about a $300 option as it sits here in my hands. But still, it's a great option. I really do like it, guys. So if you have any questions about this mount system, swing by our Facebook page, and you can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/military arms. Also swing by our discussion forums. You can find us there at militaryarmschannel.com. If you're interested in buying the sight base, swing by Midwest Industries. You can find them on the web at www.midwestindustries.inc.com. I'll put a hot link to the URL in the description below. Thanks again everybody for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.